achievements were read out, because those achievements are zero in compared to not just Akin but many other people in the world. You should never read such CVs. Well, I think I'm honored because Akin Bragança has been a very important hero in my pantheon of heroes for many, many years. Not only because of the Mozambican struggle, but because he combined scholarship, he combined a life of the mind, he combined a life of the imagination, which nobody has talked of as yet, with political activism. And as you know, my other hero in my pantheon of heroes is Graham Greene, who always talked about the moral choice being a life of action. The life of the imagination also leads to a life of action. And for me, Akin Bragança was that. More than anyone else that I know in my limited acquaintance with such figures, I think Akin Bragança is an ideal that all of us should aspire to. A life of the mind and a life of action. A life that is moral, which is not moral in the sense of pontificating as we do by sitting in our armchairs, but getting out and working for not just countries, as somebody said, but for people. The other thing that I've admired about him is his extraordinary intellectual honesty, which is singularly lacking in all our politicians, whether it's here or in the country or also sometimes in the world. I never met him. I read him in translation, also in Portuguese. And as I said, this principled politician was someone which, it was so difficult for me to see this principled politician and at the same time this great poet and this extraordinary life of the mind, that encompassed the world, and an extremely humble, humane point of view. I never met him, but my husband Alban did, because although Mozambique and Angola were not part, I think Eduardo will be part of this history, were not part of the Commonwealth, they wanted to be part of SARC. And so Alban went to Mozambique to organize for Mozambique and Angola to become part of SARC, which was, was organized by the Commonwealth Secretariat. And I remember he rang me up from there and was very excited because there were so many Indians and so many Goans inside the government in such an active position. I had the privilege of listening to Samora Machel in London. I wasn't invited, but I gate crashed and I said to Alban, I'm coming, you don't understand Portuguese as well as I do, so I'm coming. And so he spoke, he addressed the Houses of Parliament and the Confederation of British Industry when he wanted to ask British industry to invest in Mozambique to build up an infrastructure. And he spoke very passionately, he was a brilliant speaker, as you all know, about the absence of infrastructure in Mozambique and the kind of infrastructure that the British had left in India, which allowed India to move not seamlessly but with some difficulty into a modern democratic state. And I still remember that he said, the only thing we have is padres e escolas primárias. So I'm not sure if that's quite true, but that's what he said. So, as I said, pantheon of heroes, I have always been extremely proud of the role that Indians have played in the freedom struggle of Africa, as Miguel rightly pointed out, without the sense of color, without the sense of not being part of that particular society and race by birth. And so I did spend time in South Africa and Namibia with Alban, and a few months. And there I met Ahmed Kathrada, who had been in jail with Mandela for many years, I think for about 20 years, Billy Naidu, all these were communists. And when Samora Machel came to London, I think for me one of the great joys was to see this delegation sitting there, 10 of them, and 6 of them were Indian. And that spoke something for the contribution of Indians to the freedom struggle of Africa. And I think it's time for us here in Goa, I can't speak of the country, to draw inspiration from these figures, and as Miguel says, to continue to fight for the issues that we so badly need to do. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you, Sylvia, for letting me say a few words. Thank you.